Good evening, everyone. It is the most hardcore interview during Cannes. It's 2 a.m. and we're meeting Michael from Deutsch agency, who is the author of so popular video with the little Vader. And he will tell us today how did he make it and how he won his lion. Could you show us your lion first?
For sure.
Yeah, you see, I'm not lying.
It's a little wet. It was on the table, so excuse me.
Okay, so Michael, tell us, who are you? I mean, what's your role in the agency?
Sure.
Story behind it?
Sure. Should I look at here? What's
No, just talk with me.
Okay, sure. My name is Michael Kadin, and I'm the group creative director on Volkswagen. And I run the Volkswagen account, and I was running that with Eric Springer, who just recently left to freelance.
So your creative account, writing, drawing?
No, not as much the on the account side. We have different disciplines. So my partner and I, we would co-run the account together, and then there's media department and strategists and account departments like that.
Okay.
So we all work together to service the brand.
A question from one of my fans.
Sure.
Is what decided about the direction you went in Volkswagen campaign, and how does it correspond to Volkswagen brand? It's the question from Jakub Jaśkiewicz.
Well, what we were doing is we were creating a spot for the Passat, which is going to be the biggest launch in Volkswagen's history. It's a very important launch for Volkswagen, and at the same time, we wanted to do a Super Bowl spot, so we needed something obviously hugely iconic. So putting those two things together, there was a tall order. So we needed to do a piece of advertising that was as important as this car is to Volkswagen. So we knew we needed to do something special for that, and again, because of the Super Bowl. So when we were looking at scripts from all the creative teams, obviously, we looked at hundreds of scripts to find something that was just right. And then the minute we saw that story with the mini Darth, that was really, on the rational side, it was about a feature that the Passat had, the remote start, but it was really about something that laddered up to something much more emotional, which is the connection that parents have with their son. So kind of starting with the rational part of the story, but really laddering it up to something that was much bigger. And to answer the second part of your question, Volkswagen has always been this brand that represents, these timeless human stories. And, when we look at work, we put it through a filter of, is it simple, is it human, is it cool? So you kind of have to check off those three things, and that spot did it in spades. So we knew the second we saw that spot, we just knew it was going to be something special.
Do you think there are any universal motives that can guarantee a viral video?
Sure. Not really. I wish we did. I wish it's like if we knew we had, every time we could do the perfect concept. Fortunately and unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Otherwise, we'd be replaced by computers. So you never know. I mean, we knew we had something special within that script because you have a Star Wars property and you have a Volkswagen property, and those are two very iconic brands. So we knew there would be interest in it because people really love Volkswagen ads. They were very aware of the history of the brand. And of course, Star Wars, there's probably no greater, cultural reference than Star Wars. So we knew that was a powerful combination. But you can't go into anything knowing how big it's going to be or not. And we had no idea. We were even debating, do we release the film virally before the Super Bowl, because then everyone would know the twist at the end of the spot. But in this day and age, it's not just about a TV spot. There's so many different ways to consume, these pieces of communication that we all agreed it was worth showing the spot, letting everyone know, but building some momentum. So when it did air on the Super Bowl, people be familiar with it. And, we only had a few days before, and we were placing bets on, is it going to be like 1 million people maybe, or 2? And I think it was like 10 million or something beforehand. So
I found that there is over 40 million views.
Yeah, 40 million now. It's crazy. I think beforehand it was like maybe got to 10, but I wish we could do that. We would do it every time, and it would be incredible. But unfortunately, there's no there's secret recipe to that.
And 40 million, to be precise, only on the main video, because actually the video was copied and there are separate versions of it. So actually there is more in total.
There you go. I wish I knew that science. It would be great.
Was the Volkswagen Beetle also Super Bowl commercial from your agency, or it was separate?
That was also a spot that Deutsch LA did. Yes. So both of those cars are launching. These were kind of teasers for the cars because obviously the Beetle, you're seeing some of the ads now, and it's a redesign, and the Beetle is kind of a metaphor for the brand, and what that car stands for really is what the car stands for. So we wanted to do something. We felt like that was, really big news because it's arguably the most iconic, car in the world, as well as the Passat, which is the most important car to Volkswagen. So, the strategy was to kind of, set up, these two spots, and really they're both making statements about what Volkswagen had coming, in the year to come. So, we did both of those and, tackled them in slightly different ways, which both felt appropriate for what the needs of those vehicles were.
How the advert was actually invented? When the idea came from? What inspired you?
I don't know if I could answer that. There was a creative team that did it. It's hard to say. It's just something that exists, and it's very organic, and, there's no method to the madness. They're just phenomenal creatives. There's an art director named Ryan, and there's a copywriter named David. Super talented guys, and they just came up with this amazing story that just the second anyone had seen it, just knew there was something special. So I don't think you ever know. It's kind of a tricky question because sometimes it happens instantly, and sometimes So again, the good thing about what we do.
I saw that you had many different versions of it. How did you optimize? How did you adjust it, the final movie for the audience?
Sure. Well, we knew we had the story, and we wanted to kind of tease it up front. So there's this little mini Darth, and he's trying to bring these inanimate objects to life. So what we try to do when we do a commercial that has multiple vignettes, you always want to shoot a couple extra because you never which ones are going to work. You never know which ones are going to work. So I can't remember exactly how many are in that, but say there was 4 or 5. We definitely want to shoot probably 7 or 8 because some of the ones we think might be great may not work. So we shot with Lance Accord, who's this amazing director, and we worked together on creating these different vignettes and which ones we thought would be the funniest and which ones look Star Wars-like the washer and dryer kind of looks futuristic, and we shot an exercise bike, which didn't make it into the shorter cut, but the longer cut. So we really just started cutting it and seeing which one told the story best and which had a flow to it. And then once we had the cut we liked, we created an outtake reel just because it was getting such traction, just to show people some of the behind the scenes.
But did you test it somehow? Research, or you just chose it by yourself?
No, just what we felt was best. We wouldn't research that. It was just, we cut it, and then we look at it, wait a day, and then look at it with fresh eyes and see, does that make sense? Is there a rhythm to the spot? Is it the best way to tell the story? So no, it's just between the creatives and the editor.
Was it hard to convince the client? Wasn't he saying make the logo bigger?
No, never. Volkswagen is an amazing account. It's really unique. There's really no other brand that has such a legacy of phenomenal work from the DDB days, from its inception. That work revolutionized advertising. Is why I got in advertising. It's why a lot of people have. And they have such an understanding of who their brand is, and there's a sophistication and intelligence to their advertising. There always has been. All that DDB stuff from 50 years ago is timeless. So they have such an awareness of their brand that when you present stuff to them, almost 100% of the time, if it's something that's strategically sound, as we say, is a balance of art and commerce, selling what we need to sell, but, is highly creative, engaging, and that's what they demand from us. We have no time selling it. And this spot, again, it was truly universal in the minute we saw it from the creative teams, we loved it. We presented it to the client. They're like, we have to do this spot, whatever it takes. And then when we approached Lucasfilms, the second they saw it, they just said, this is one of the best things we've ever been associated with the brand. And they're amazing partners, and they did everything they could to help us with music, with anything we wanted. They, really were amazing partners with. So it really, when you have something that, touches such a nerve and is so visceral, at every stage of the process, it was just, okay, how do we get this done from the beginning to, the finishing. So no problem at all on that one.
How long then it took you from the concept or the brief to the final release? Because as far as I understood, you had 2 projects for Volkswagen at the same time, both for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we had the Beetle and we had the Passat. We were on a very accelerated schedule because we were working on multiple projects. So probably from its inception to completion was, a couple months. It wasn't a protracted length just because the good thing is about having these dates, like you can't move the date of the Super Bowl, which we like those kind of things. So we have to all commit to something, be held accountable to it, and get to that date. So again, once we presented to them, it was just negotiating with Lucasfilms and then getting it through. But it was very quick.
And the final question before we go to sleep.
Yeah, I have it is 2:25. It's not.
What do you think about the viral videos placed in the market? Will they suppress the traditional TV commercials, or will they go their own way and there will be just another channel of distribution of content?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one we talk about all the time, because there's always something that you think is going to replace traditional ways to watch television, and that's very true. Everyone's consuming entertainment differently and all this content, and very few people are sitting around and, it's Tuesday night, we're going to watch this and this. They watch something that's on Tuesday night, Wednesday or Friday or whatever. So I think, viral videos, YouTube, all that stuff, I think it works in concert with, traditional television, and I think they all have a role. Sometimes you want to do things like Fun Theory, which was an amazing viral video that wasn't selling anything other than the brand. It was a great piece of, advertising that really, confirmed what all the thoughts you had about all those positive associations of Volkswagen as a brand being, optimistic and fun and all those kind of things. But, it wasn't selling, it wasn't selling a remote start, or it wasn't selling a safety feature or TDI technology. So I think you can do that, virally, and or you can just do things that are just fun things about the brand. And I think it really boils down to what is the project, what is the agenda for the thing you're doing. And sometimes it's okay to just do totally entertaining stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that really spreads virally. I don't think if you do something that just feels like you're steeped in all this information, I don't think it just gets passed around. I think you've got to really entertain. So I think that feels like more of the role for the viral. But, I think again, you have to look at it. There's a lot of moving parts these days which make it so great. So when you don't just think, when you're concepting of a TV spot, you're thinking of all the different forms of medium to communicate. So I think you just have to find what is the role of, a viral video, what is the role of mobile, digital, experiential, and you have to just think of it as a collective.
Okay, thank you very much, and let's go to bed, sleep.
Yes, okay.